Hi everyone, my name is Bethany Barnard. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I don't make videos very often. I'm very new at this. I've only just received a phone this week that actually has enough storage on it for me to even make a video. So I ask for your grace as I try to take you through a card that people have requested more information. They've asked me what the name of the fold is. I don't know the name of the fold. I had seen cards similar to this fold, I guess you would call it. Actually, it's more like this one, where you have the cutouts of the inside and it frames sort of whatever you've done on the inside, and then I sign it on the back. And I kind of worked through how that would be done. And then it occurred to me, well, could I not make it a lot more open and take away actually those framed cutouts to where you could really get more of what was going on the inside. And I went from this card to making this card, where inside we have these three kings. And I posted this on the demonstrator planning place, and many people asked me what the fold was called, and so I couldn't give it a name. And I'm not very good at writing up instructions either, or tutorials, so I thought I would just try my hand at making a quick video on how to do that. And that's what I'm hoping to do today. And you just start with a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and literally you are gonna score it in half both ways. So that's at 4 1/4, and here again at 5 1/2. And then from either direction, you're gonna do it in half again, basically. So 2 3/4. I prefer to turn my cardstock over and just do 2 3/4 again. And I'm only scoring to that center line. So that's all the scoring that you need to do to make this card. I'm going to put my scoreboard away. And then I'm going to get my trimmer. And this is what you should love your trimmer for. And it is now we're going to be able to cut out the piece that we need. So I always start by cutting along what will be the bottom edge here. So this is the same side that we have the 4 score marks on, or the same half that we have the 4 score marks on. And I put this on, it's the second line of the vertical line of the trimmer on the right hand side of where you would cut. And I am going to cut from the first score line all the way to that second score line. And then then you have the score line will match right up in here where you would do it on your trimmer, which makes it easy to then cut up again to this center score line, and then over again here. And you're gonna go all the way over to that farthest score line. So we're just basically cutting out rectangles in the middle here. And I'm not getting, my eyesight's pretty bad, and I'm trying not to get my head into the camera. So I hope you can see what I did there. It might not be as accurate as if I were able to get really close with my blind vision. And just come in here, cut out that last bit. And I'm not sure which side is hanging on here, so I'll snip a little bit on both sides. Okay, so you're going to keep this piece and put that to the side, and then I'm going to show you how this ends up folding. So then you fold it in half, and you have 1 score line here, and so you're going to fold it in half again. This is a good time for a bone folder. But then you have still 2 score marks here, and this is going to then fold outward. So you pull that piece out and have that fold, And that basically gives you what's going to be the inside of our card. And it makes it a nice and sturdy card, and you'll see this as we go all the way through. Now I'm going to set this aside for a second as we build the card, but I did want to show you, and I did some of this in advance earlier with another card I was making. So this is the same size cut out from another card base. But I wanted you to know that there's room, there's still a score mark here, but there's room for you to put the wise men, 2 on one side, another wise man on this side, and then the gifts that they bring, the 3 gifts, that stamp can go on there as well. And you still have a little bit of room if you make a mistake as you ink those up. So I didn't want to take the time to do that, but that's how I took care of them. I've already cut out, you'll see here, I've already cut out my 3 wise men. Again, trying to make this an easy video for you to watch and get through the whole process quickly. So that's where I would stamp them using those inside pieces of paper. Okay, so in addition to this card base, I just realized I'm using this DSP, this really beautiful DSP with the silver, but I'm actually using the blue side with the trees and the stars. And I meant to write down what this DSP is from, but I didn't, and so I don't remember. But it's all part of that tree set in the mini. And then I'm just going to fold this in half. Because really, some of these other cards that I showed you, I'm actually trying to teach you how to do the fold and less about this particular card. In fact, I have another card here somewhere I can show you that I used the same fold for a birthday card using some upcoming celebration. So with this right on the fold here, I'm gonna fold this over, and I just, this mono liquid glue is my absolute favorite. I use it for everything. My cards won't fall apart. I know it's not as quick as some of the other adhesives, or like if you're using a video, but it's really important to me to know my cards are not gonna fall apart, and it's actually pretty economical as well. So, and I'm just doing glue around the perimeter, as you can see, and that's partly because whenever you glue something that folds, it has to have a certain amount of give. I want this to be able to shut, but I also want it to be able to more or less open flat. And that's what I have found to be the best way to make sure that it will fold all the way and then also open. And we're gonna need that when we put in the center pieces. And you'll see what I mean as we go along. So I've done, as I said, a lot of prep in advance. So I'm gonna take this to the front side here, and we'll just get that front side done. And what I've done, ooh, you know, I kind of like the Bethlehem picture right on the front of that. What I did on this card is I have Bethlehem over here, and I just put, "Oh, come let us adore him," with a star above, which I like, but also seeing the Bethlehem right on here on the front, I like that too. And now I'm almost tempted to go get a different stamp to put above it to make that work. So maybe I'll do that on a future card, but I'll stick to the plan here for now on how I do the front. And remember, it's the inside of the card that's supposed to be the wow anyway. So I like to try and keep the outside a little bit more straightforward and simple. This DSP is just in the annual catalog, and it's the Simply Elegant DSP, and it is simply elegant. Every sheet has some kind of foil whether it's gold or silver, and it just, you know, makes everything just that little bit more elegant, which is why it's called Simply Elegant. So just try to straighten that out a little bit. There we go. And as I said, I'm just gonna keep this going fast for your sake, because I know you're more interested probably in the fold itself. So everyone knows this trick of cutting the same cutout die in half to be able to give this sort of shadowed effect, I presume. So that's what we're gonna do here. But first I'm gonna stamp on here using the "Oh Come Let Us Adore Him," and I'm gonna do that in this Night of Navy. And I'm gonna have it not go across the center. And of course the real stamp is even wider than this die from the Tasteful Label set. But I wanna be able to put a star above the words. So there we go. And then put this all glued together. I'm one of those people that when I watch somebody else's video, I like to kind of make my card along with them if I'm making the card, but if I'm trying to just understand how it's made, I kind of want to speed it up the whole time, which probably isn't nice to my sister demos. But it also makes me want to go quickly for you because I know how I address them, especially as we're really getting close to Christmas time. So if you're wanting to make this particular card for Christmas, I know you're running out of time. I'm trying to get all mine done as well. So here we go. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. And that's the other reason why I like the liquid glue, because then you can move it a little bit and straighten it out. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there, and I'm gonna just glue this bit over to the side here. Isn't that funny? It looks okay to me on the front, and yet when I look at the back, look how crooked that looks. That doesn't seem right, does it? Oh well, I'm okay with it, so we're gonna go. Oh, it's probably my cutting that was so off. You know, not a straight line. I think that's probably what happened. Okay, so I'm gonna put this not quite in the center, a little bit up from the bottom, center side to side, and maybe the same distance from the top as I have from these two sides. And then my little Bethlehem. Oops. I loved this set right away when I saw the mini catalog, and I have had people comment on this card, and that's why I'm making the video. But I also had somebody, a cousin of mine that I really am not that much in touch with, but she actually sent me a card from like 10 or 15 years ago with Wiseman in it. And she said, how can I get this stamp? And I said, well, it's retired, but I might have it still somewhere. And she said, well, no, I'm just really into the Wiseman, which kind of made me laugh. But I thought, well, maybe I'll send her this card this year. And maybe I'll send her this video too, and she'll learn something from that. Okay, so I know it's probably supposed to be a particular star that we use for this event. And I did change the gold foil. This is the gold foil that we have been used to over the years, but you know, we do have that new gold foil in the catalog. I can't remember what page it is, but it's more brushed gold, and that's what I've used here. But I am going to use this one because I think it's a little bit shinier and less for the outside and more for the inside. I'm thinking that it might pop a little bit more. I don't know. You don't know till you try it, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying it to see. So let's put that star there. Of course, you know, you get liquid glue on foil, and the answer is not these erasers. The answers are that you just have enough patience to work that off with your fingers. And eventually you do, and there we go. All right, so back to the inside here. And the next thing that I would do, and I've already cut them, so these are 2.5 inches by 4 inches. We're just gonna put those on either side. The main thing that I know most of you wanted to learn probably was just how you make this fold. But I do think you're going to want to see how I was able to put the pieces inside. So we're getting there. And then some of you are clever enough to figure it out from here anyway. So I appreciate anybody who's still watching. As I said, this is really, I don't have time to practice this. I just put my video on my camera going and said, however I fumble over my words, that's what you're gonna get. It's so easy to be so self-conscious about making videos, and I definitely am. But here we go. Okay, so you can see we're getting closer and closer. Okay, so I am ready to put in these 2 pieces here, which I took a longer piece that was 3¼ inches by, it depends on how many cards you're gonna make. You really only need 1/2 inch, but it's hard to cut at that small size. So I usually get like maybe 4¼ by 3¼ inches. And I score at 1/4 inch on both sides. So hopefully you can see that. I have this and this. That's leaving me 2 3/4 inches, which should be exactly the distance between the 2 of these. And I love the way it works to be able to put these in the cards. So that would be the next thing you do. So you take and you put a little bit of adhesive on the tab. Just on, I always start with just the one side. I make it flush with the bottom. I'll bring it forward just a little. Well, I'll bring it forward a little bit more, which is very dangerous because now I've got glue where I don't want glue, because you don't want things sticking where you don't want things sticking. Okay, and so then you're going to just lay this straight. And you're going to take the next one and you're going to do the same thing, more or less equidistant from what remains here. Now this goes a little bit into the framework, so I'm going to put this more on closer to this piece here. But you can see I'm basically just adhering these. You want these straight with the bottom. Let's see if I can do that again. It's important that these stick. Very important that these stick. Okay, so then you should be able to, that sticks all right. Fold them back again this way. Now you might want to feel around and make sure that the stickiness is not still there, because we're going to fold that all over, and you just want it sticking where you want it sticking and nowhere else. Okay, I don't know if that makes any sense, but, and then I always fold these once just so the paper knows what you're asking it to do, because you're going to ask it to do that again, because now while it's flat, you're going to basically do the same thing. Put a little bit of glue on here. Again, I don't want it to have too much glue to where it oozes out and hits the wrong thing. But at this point, all you're going to do is close your card. And that should make your pieces go exactly where they're supposed to go. So I'm just going to remind you that these pieces were 3 1/4 inches long by about 1/4 of an inch or 3/8 of an inch, depending on where you cut this. I like to make them a little bit shallower than where I've cut this. So they're basically at 1/4 of an inch. And that way it's always going to fold and shut. And you just glue the tabs here. And then, oh, I see that one didn't stick. It came undone. It's sticking now. I probably should leave it a little longer and not talk so much. But that's how you get your framework there. So what we'll do while we're waiting for that to dry for sure is stamp these 2 words. I love all the words that come with this set, but I've actually used the same punch that we used to get the star out from the front, and it comes from the Stars Are Shining bundle, and this punch is how we got this star and how we got these stars that I'm putting on the inside. But it also is where I got the little words here, the stars are shining brightly, which to me the song is the stars are brightly shining, but there you go. And then glory to God in the highest, and I'm putting them on another one of these dies from the Tasteful Labels dies. I love those dies. You can't go wrong with these dies. Okay, so I'm using again, the Night of Navy, and I'm doing glory to God in the highest. These fit so perfectly on the tab that we have here. It looks like I smudged that a little bit, but what I did is I made one in advance, because normally you would stamp that and then cut it out, but I wanted to make this quicker for us, so I've got this one here that's not smudged, so we'll use that one on this card. And then the other one, and you'll see that it's photopolymer because it's from the Stars Are Shining stamp set. So we're going to put inside the stars are brightly shining. And of course it's a little easier with these photopolymer. And there we go. And that one worked out. But yes, I did have a spare in case we needed it. By the way, I should have said that when I colored, now you can just have fun when you color your wise men, but I did color them in advance so that I wouldn't take the time up during the video. But these are the colors I used. I have a light Blackberry Bliss, and I have that's the light Blackberry Bliss, and this is the dark Highland Heather. Then I have the light Bermuda Bay, the dark Pumpkin Pie, and the light Pumpkin Pie. And then I have the dark soft suede, I have crumb cake, I have ivory for the skin, and then I have the dark daffodil delight. But you don't have to make your colors the same as mine at all, but those were just the colors I used. I like having the bright yellow guy way in the back because I think he shows up well. So that's one of the reasons why I went with some of those bolder colors. Okay, so hopefully that's a lot more dry, and then I'm going to just take the Stars Are Brightly Shining. And again, a lot of people, you know, I love dimension. That's why I made a card like this. And people say, oh, do we put these up on dimensional? And my answer whenever I have a special fold like this is to not use dimensionals, because you've already got a thickness going on because it's a special fold. So I don't like to, you know, make it too bulky in an envelope. So that's why I don't use dimensionals. Although I'm saying that, and I think I did put the actual gifts up on dimensionals. We'll have to look at the inside of the other one and see, because I'm happy with it. It doesn't seem too bulky, this card here. So what do we do? Yep, I've put this up on dimensionals. So feel free to do that. And I have some dimensionals here. somewhere. Yep. So I will take, look at that. I just have enough left here to do a great job on my Wise Men's Gifts on the back. So I'll just put that on. And I loved the way this framed just the words right here. So that's why I put them there. Okay, once you have your layers in here, I don't know what to call them, that means that you're good to go with actually gluing this down. So I tend to just do a line of glue in this case, a mirror image of an L shape. And on the other side, I will do an L shape. And that just holds those pieces together. Now, I don't use the thick vanilla or white for these cards because you don't need it, because basically they're gonna be, the card base is gonna be double thickness at these two ends anyway. So you got a nice sturdy card base because of that. There you go. So you're gonna see this holds up really nicely. It's just a very nice construct. All right, so now we're gonna put our stars in before we put our Wise Men in. So I'm gonna use my punch again. One of the main pieces I wanna get this time is this big star, because that's the star over Bethlehem. After that, I'm really only interested in this smallest star here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one in, because my thinking is I want the Wise Men are heading this way. I want that star right in the center front, and then I can put the other stars around it. Now this paper that I'm using does have, you can see just like in the dark, some other stars are in the sky, which is why I chose it. But you could just have, I should tell you, DSP is the best thing to have inside, because if you use more and more cardstock, then I do think your card will get too bulky and too heavy, and you know, it's what everybody likes. You know, it's your choice, but I don't know if I'm gonna wish that I'd put this star a little bit higher up, maybe, but maybe not. I think I'm happy with that. So to make punching out these little stars easier, I cut myself a strip of this gold foil, which I can't get my hands on. Here we go. Unfortunately, this tiniest star is right at the top of the punch. So I'm not really wasting a lot of material as I aim to just get, I'm always going to get some other piece, but I'm going to get these little stars too. What do I have on here? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I have like 17 stars. So this is something I could have done earlier for you, huh? Well, you know what? I can add those stars later. So for now, I'll just put a few of those in, and you'll know, because I can add them even after the Wise Men. And you know that you can then add as many stars as you'd like. And I always put my liquid glue on first. Trying to be very careful with how much I'm putting on. You want enough, but you don't want too much. And then this is a great time to use your, take your pick. Now, ironically, I like to use this end for what I'm doing, and what I do is I first stick it in the glue, and then I pick it up. when I put it on, because that glue then lasts for a while for me to do this. I don't know why I do it this way. I think it's because before they came out with the, I say take your pick. Is it called that, or is it, yeah, it is take your pick. I always call it a pick-me-up tool because, you know, it's so fun to use. It kind of picks you up to stamp and do this. But anyway, I don't know, I just find that works even better for me. And then what you can do is switch it out again. And as long as yours isn't as sticky as mine is, you can kind of lay it on top and press it down. And you can feel pretty good about that. Now, I will be covering stars on this side as well, but just to help you to see how this card goes together and get it finished up for you. So I am going to put one Wiseman here, and then I'm going to put one in the center here, and then I'm going to put one all the way to the front, but on this furthest one. So it's important that you stack them in that order. I did have another one here that I did first. I don't know if I still have it nearby, but if I do, you'll see what I'm talking about. But just trust me. Oh yeah, there it is. It's a little out of reach. Here we go. Okay, so this was the absolute first one I did. And you'll see that by stacking them in the opposite order, it looks okay, halfway open. But once you open it, they're almost covering each other up. I will still send this card out, but it's so much better if you stack them from all the way to the right, center, and then the one closest to the forward part of the card is the one closest to this piece. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I'll put them in now and you'll see. So you're only going to put some glue at the very bottom of their, I was going to say skirt, but my daughter would very quickly say, Mother, it's a robe. So yes, the robe. And I'm going to put it all the way to the end here. Now this guy, I can actually glue him all the way down, can't I? Because he's actually going right on the paper. So got him all the way glued down. But the remaining ones, it is important that it's just their robe. So now I have to decide who do I want in the middle. I wanted the brightest one all the way back. But then this guy is going to be right in the middle. So I am trying, I don't know if you can see in there, but I'm trying to get him right in the center of this tab that we've put in there. That's an awful lot of glue I'm feeling. So again, I worry about things being glued shut when I go to cut the card completely. Also, I almost wonder if I, see, now I'm second guessing myself. So I'm going to stop that right now. And I'm going to put this one here. But yeah, I think I could have brought him back a little bit. I think there is room so that he's not really in the middle. Maybe he's halfway between the end and the middle, just to get a really nice staggered look. And you can, at any time that you're putting these guys in, like if you want, if you shut it, that should help you have the pressure, give it the time so that the glue really adheres. The question is always, adhering to what? When you open it, is it adhering to all the right pieces? But it looks like it is. So this is going to look nice on somebody's mantle or wherever they decide to put it. I kind of wish that I had moved him back a little bit and moved him back a little bit. I think they would stand out a little bit more, and I'm sure I'm going to do that on my next card. But basically that's how you make the card, and you can sign on the back, and if you wanted to, you could put, you know, a different saying, you know, on the back. There is another one that comes with this set, and it's the like Great Tidings. I think is what it's something like that. Anyway, that you could put on the back. On the back of this one, I put some of the leftover DSP that I had, and I put these different layers on it. And then on this one, I put Glory to the Newborn King, and that comes from the same set that Oh Come Let Us Adore Him comes from, which I think is called For Unto Us, and it's all the words from those beautiful hymns of Christmas time. So those are some different options, and they're all using that same fold. And I wanted to show you that after that I did go ahead and make another card using, well, this is the Celebration $100 stamp, but I used the DSP from hand penned, and then on the inside I have the bird, and hope you have the best birthday. And so there's room here to actually sign the card, so I don't have to do anything on the back. But that's basically the different things you can do with that. I don't have a name for the fold. Maybe there is one. I don't want to presume I'm the first person to ever make a card like this. I doubt that I am, but I was messing with paper myself, so I don't know the answer to what the fold is called, and if somebody does, I'm happy for them to let me know. Anyway, thanks for staying with me. I hope I can get up the nerve to do more videos, especially if you find them helpful, because I love the tutorials that people put out that I can follow to make these cards. Thanks again.